Everyone, and welcome. We apologize for being 10 minutes late. It's been a busy day in our public village of South Plains, Tenured. Would you all please join me in salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome. Tonight's board meeting is always a joy as we gather to celebrate our teachers and administrators who are achieving tenure, and to recognize our outstanding principals for their dedication to our students, faculty, and staff. It gives me great pride as the superintendent of schools to know that I have such an outstanding staff to work with, and all of who are joining us tonight as tenured teachers are adding to that joy immeasurably. We are very proud of our teachers. We're very proud of the work you do day in and day out. Teaching is the one profession that creates all others. It's complex and it's demanding work, but it is the most essential work that serves and supports not only future generations, but our entire country and indeed our world. Because without training the next groups of people that come up, where would we be? Who would support us in our own village? It requires not only keen intellect, but it also requires vast amounts of patience and resilience. Each one of you has been supported on this journey. If you each pause for a moment, you can think, I'm sure, of a teacher who helped shape your path and your life. I know I can think of several that helped me. I grew up in a very difficult and challenging times. I was the first in my family to attend college. And I know that one of the reasons I was able to succeed was because teachers saw something in me that they nurtured and that they encouraged. And for that, I will always be very grateful. At the same time, as you became teachers, it required the support of your families. Your families have been your constant cheerleaders as you prepare to become teachers. And whatever stage you are in life, whether you are still living with parents, or whether you are now parents, or you have significant others in your life, all of them are touched in some way by your teaching. Maybe that it's those late Sunday nights where you're still sitting up doing lesson plans and they'd like to be doing something else, and you are asking them of their time to say, no, I really need to focus. Or it may be that there are other activities that you're drawn to do that they have to share you with us in order for you to do that. So we know that there are supports and challenges on all sides. So tonight, not only do we want to recognize the teachers and administrators who are achieving tenure, but we also want to acknowledge all of you who support them at home, in the trenches, and as they are coming in to work with us. It's a world that's constantly changing, and as it changes, teachers have to remain quintessential learners. And that is one of the things that gives us joy in this work. Tonight we are going to recognize 32 outstanding teachers and 5 administrators who have demonstrated to us that they have what it takes. Most importantly, we are thrilled that you have chosen to be a part of our district. We trust that you will be with us for many years to come. You went through a very difficult selection process. You've gone through 4 years in terms of achieving tenure. You've gone through SQOs, SGPs, you've gone through evaluations, and each time you rise to the occasion and show us that you have what it takes. But most importantly, day in and day out, you inspire students. You inspire them to do their very best and to work to their capabilities as you nurture the next generation to come. And so we're extremely proud that you are with us tonight, and we're extremely proud of the work that you are doing. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nancy Bauer, who is our board president, who will get us started with our work this evening. I do want to officially call the Board of Ed meeting to order tonight because we're going to be moving resolutions recognizing you. So Mrs. Saradaki, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Laurel? Here. Mrs. Brody? Here. Dr. Clancy? Here. Mrs. Soriani? Here. Mrs. Williams? Here. Mrs. Winkler? Here. Mrs. Bowles?
Here.
For Mrs. President.
Thank you. So I just wanted to add congratulations on behalf of all the board as well to the tenured teachers and administrators, and echo a few of the same kinds of thoughts Dr. Hayes said. You've repeatedly demonstrated not only your knowledge and skills, but also your passion for teaching and education and your commitment to our students and their success. And we thank you for your energy, for your creativity, for your professionalism that you bring every day to school and to your classroom. I am always fascinated with the etymology of words, and I'm always curious about the origins. And tenure in Latin means to hold on to. So that's what we want to do with you. We've decided that we want to hold on to you as part of our community, Scotch Plains and Vanwood. Our communities want to keep dedicated individuals like each of you to guide our students. And while we are grateful for all the hard work that you have done and will do, we want to also thank your families, your significant others. We know that they have supported you, and that there have been many times, I know, evenings and weekends, when you've been working and they've been understanding more or less. All successful people have a support system, so please give a round of applause to your support system. And again, congratulations, as I said, from the entire board for this milestone in your career. We look forward to greeting you individually as you're recognized. So there'll be an opportunity to come along and shake hands with all of us, which we look forward to doing. And I'd like to call on Tanya Williams. She's going to read the resolution for teachers, and Dr. Hayes can invite the principals up as well.
Good evening. Whereas the mission of the Scotch Plains Family Public Schools is to educate and empower our community of individual learners to be successful citizens of the world, and whereas the Scotch Plains Family Board of Education will always expect exceptional performance by staff, will always hire only the most qualified candidates, and will promote the maximum performance and achievement of every student and staff member. And whereas the following teachers and administrators are deserving of receiving tenure in the Scotch Plains Family Public Schools this year, therefore be it resolved that the Scotch Plains Family Board of Education recognizes and congratulates these newly tenured teachers and administrators and offers our support and best wishes as they continue to work diligently with our students in the Scotch Plains Family Public Schools. You're welcome.
So at this time, the teachers from Brenner, unfortunately, were not able to be with us tonight. They had other commitments that they had to do. So we're going to start with closed school, and we're going to ask Dr. Karen Bedwell to come forward, along with Stephanie Giannaccio, Chelsea Crystal, and Tiffany Rossi.
Good evening. Congratulations to everyone receiving tenure. I'd like to start off with Stephanie Giannaccio, our media specialist at Coles, the hub of Coles School. Stephanie has created such a warm and welcoming library that kids race to every single morning to exchange their books. Her love of reading really brings books to life at Coles. She's a resource for teacher, and everyone looks to her for guidance, suggestions, and support. Stephanie, thank you so much for making Coles Library the heart of Coles School. I really appreciate everything you've done. Caitlin Reiser, our music teacher. Caitlin's classroom is full of music, energy, and dancing. Her lessons focus students on being musical and beatful. Even those third grade recorder groups. She is also very involved outside the classroom and helps plan our Veterans Day assembly. She runs the fourth grade chorus. She runs grade level folk dance performances and helps the PTA set up for every single after-school activity. She's a big part of Coles, always ready to help and willing to be a part of everything. Caitlin's energy and excitement and working with kids is such a pleasure to watch. Guys, Caitlin, Coles School is a great place because you're a big part of making it great. And Chelsea, it's been confirmed, I checked with your mom, and your first words really were, "Hey Mom, I have a great way to increase student engagement." Chelsea's an amazing kindergarten teacher. Her child-centered room is focused on teaching independent thinkers at the age of 5. And outside the classroom, she continues to teach, as she serves as a mentor and as a leader among the teachers. Her positive perspective is contagious and can be felt as soon as you enter her room. From designing activities like building roller coasters with 5-year-olds to choreographing the Teachers Act with a variety show. Chelsea gives 150% and does everything with a smile. Congratulations, Chelsea. It's an absolute honor to work with you.
And now at this time, I would like to call forward Colleen Holbert, principal of Evergreen School, and Jordan Gray, Wilma Martin, Elizabeth Petrillo, and Michelle Starinova. For my height problem. Shortest principal, the shortest. Congratulations, everyone. It's my pleasure tonight to say a few words about Evergreen's 4 teachers who have achieved tenure this year. Jordan Gray is a valued member of our kindergarten team. Her joyous approach to teaching and her thirst to learn all she can about best practices for early childhood teaching influences her instructional approach each day. Jordan's appreciation of each child helps them to feel comfortable and secure in their learning environment and fosters an eagerness to learn. Vilma Marchison is an enthusiastic member of our preschool team. Her gentle and nurturing approach supports each of her 3- and 4-year-old students. With her care and guidance, they engage in meaningful play that leads to their growth and development in social and emotional skills and the critical prerequisite skills for later academic learning. Vilma also expands their learning environment by introducing her students to the outer world through such experiences as the Monarch Butterfly Release and Voices from the Land activity. During her journey with us, Vilma has also achieved her citizenship, and we're all very proud of her. Lisa Petrillo is a very effective member of our special education team, instructing our students in English language arts. Her dedication and perseverance to providing our students with the most enriched learning experience possible has really helped our students to make significant progress. Lisa's ability to approach her students' learning from their points of strength help her students to take ownership of their learning and come to believe in their capacity to learn. Students come to trust that Mrs. Petrillo will not let them falter. She celebrates their growth and success, motivating them to continue to strive. And last but by no means least, Michelle Terranova is a member of our SOS team who also provides supplemental instruction to students in School 1. Michelle's passion for learning and her dedication to her students is inspiring. She works hard to understand each of her students' learning style and needs. Michelle collaborates very well with our classroom teachers to coordinate a 2-pronged approach to help her students deepen their understanding of math, language arts, and written expression.
She is constantly coming up with new ideas to help her students flourish. This past spring, she created a math sidewalk talk event that allowed students to choose how to demonstrate their learning in a creative way. And we had those demonstrations for several days before the rain. Anyone who has had the pleasure of speaking with Michelle about her students walks away confident that our students are in exceptional hands. Within the scope of their instructional responsibilities, each of these teachers has demonstrated a strong skill set, exceptional commitment, and caring for our students, and the professional behavior that practices that mark a lifelong learner. Author Nikos Kazant wrote, "True teachers are those who use themselves as bridges over which they invite their students to cross. Then, having facilitated their crossing, they joyfully collapse, encouraging them to build their own." I want to thank each of you for being that true teacher, and on behalf of Evergreen School, Jordan, Phil, Lisa, and Michelle, we congratulate you on this fine accomplishment, and we eagerly look forward to our continuing valuable work.
And now at this time, I would like to call forward Dr. Sasha Slocum, principal of the Green School, and Rachel Ripp and Clara Strapani.
Good evening, everybody. I want to first thank the Board of Education for holding this evening every year. We are so fortunate to be able to celebrate our best and brightest teachers with the district. And I was so excited to be able to see these names as a reminder that Tara Stefani and Rachel Ripp were receiving tenure this year. I also want to echo something that Dr. Hayes said about the process that our teachers go through to reach this point. Just to start their journey here, when I've been here for 9 years, but when I started, when we interviewed Rachel and Tara, we were on a path in the district to look for dual certified teachers, and they're both dual certified in special education and general education. They have rich resumes to start with. But of course, to get to this point, they have to have that extra special piece of being able to touch the lives of our children so well, and they do that incredibly. So Tara is a special education teacher at our school. She started as a part-time special education teacher, and very quickly it became obvious that we needed to get her full-time. She's extremely thoughtful about every child. She comes to me with questions that I just never would have thought of. I'm a very fast-paced person. I'm working with a lot of people all the time. She comes to me and slows me down and thinks very deeply about each of the children that she's working with, and says, what about if we were to do this? And I consider these consequences if we make these choices. She's extremely thoughtful. She's been an incredible member of her team, with working with Dorothy Lusk and many other educators at our school as a team teacher, but she's equally skillful in her pull-out resource classes, where she's taught herself multisensory techniques and managed to work with our most needy, struggling readers. She's been incredible, and it's such a thrill to have her make it here tonight. Rachel has also been a delight, and she is a different kind of depth. She brings a different kind of depth to our school. She is a deep thinker about curriculum. She is so excited about trying new things. Her first graders absolutely adore her, and she has a way of making each person in her classroom feel like a superstar. I walk in there, it could be any time of the year, and children will be up in front of the classroom demonstrating to their classmates things that they've done, things that they're interested in, fielding questions from their colleagues in the classroom. It's just a beautiful thing to see. She skillfully brings in her special education background to modify assignments for other students, to welcome students with special needs from other classrooms into our classes. She always chooses to do that. She is a remarkable educator, and I just couldn't be prouder to be here tonight. Thank you both.
And now it's my pleasure to call forward Dr. Jocelyn Dumas, principal of Park Middle School, Stephen Franz, John Jennings, Laura Reggio, Jacqueline Nico, and Julia Ward. Please come forward. And in absentia, we're going to recognize Allison Brown and Amy Jones.
Hi, welcome everybody, and congratulations to teachers who have already been honored tonight. It's been a privilege to work with many of you in the audience in my capacity as a supervisor, so congratulations. So we're going to start today with Mr. Steve Franz, who teaches 5th grade for us at Park Middle School. And one of the things that makes Steve so wonderful is his ability to connect with kids on such a personal level. And he does so with his very quirky, amazing humor and his ability to teach them silly dances in the middle of hallways when they're waiting for things like phys ed class, which I was lucky enough to stumble upon last year. So you can do a demonstration after this. Steve also is so highly attentive to students' needs and differentiates in the classroom so well through different assessment data points, and we're just really lucky to have him, so thank you, Steve. So next I'll talk about Joan Jennings, who is new to Park this year, but not quite. So Joan used to be a writing workshop teacher, and she was split between Park and Terrell, and then Terrell took her away from us. But she's found her way back to her Park family in the capacity as our basic skills and quest teacher. And I couldn't imagine a better fit for this role than Joan. She's so kind and attentive to kids, and when I had the privilege of sitting in at her writing conferences, I learned so much from her and the way she interacted with students, and the students responded so well because they could tell that she was really listening to them, and that the feedback that she gave was so personalized and meaningful that they just grew so much. And I'm so excited to see what she's going to do in this new role, and we're lucky to have her. Next, Julia Ward. Julia is a special education teacher at Park Middle School. This year she's co-teaching with Ms. Courtney Nemeth, who is also supporting her in the audience, which shows how wonderful and how much we love having Julia. One of the greatest things about Julia is that she will do literally anything for kids. She'll give pressure, she'll give support, she'll give tough love, and she'll give that kind of gentleness. Whatever kids need, that's what she's there to give. And if I could describe her, it would be this like excited intensity. Everything with Julia is exciting and awesome. And if you give her an impossible task, she'll be like, yes, let's do it. And that's something that is so good for kids to see, and it's something great to work with, and it's so amazing to be a colleague for you and with you. So thank you. And last but not least, we have our dynamic duo of 8th grade mathematics, and I will speak about them both separately, but collectively, Jackie and Lauren are literally joined together because they both teach 8th grade math at Park, and they often commute in together in the same car. And like that, all right? And wherever you see them, they're always talking about math. And they're always talking about the next best thing to do. I literally just walked in and I was trying to have a conversation, and they're like, wait, and we're going to do this little change quick for the next period. So that's them. They're often the last to leave in terms of staff members at night. I'm often walking out with them in the dark. So I appreciate your dedication. But separately, Jackie Mayfell has such incredible content knowledge. I had the pleasure of shadowing a student in her classroom where I actually switched roles with him, and I had the pleasure of being in her honors math class, which felt a little like a college class that I once took, but in a good way. And the kids were helpful to me, but they were so engaged in the activities that they were doing, and I knew right then that all of the students would be loving algebra by the end of the year because of the exciting activities that they had going on. So congratulations, Jackie. And Lauren, separately, I was in Lauren's class, I think last year, when the kids were doing a review game, and I think it's the most excitement that I've seen from 8th graders learning math in my life. They were laughing, like joking with each other about math again. And it was just such an incredible place to be. And I knew right there and then that they were engaged in the content and really enjoying themselves as they were doing that. So congratulations to all 5 of you. And also congratulations to Allie Brown, Denise Shaughnessy, and Kate Bukowski, who was at the park and now is a runner. They're also receiving tenure, but couldn't be here with us tonight. But we're so proud of all of you guys, and I'm so privileged to work with you. And congratulations.
Along with Kristen Nyarusi, James Harry, Michael Electra, and Philip Jeff and Cynthia Maria Riley.
So good evening, everyone. So the universe is full of just countless stars, and some fizzle, fade, and fall from the heavens, while others just burn really brightly, and they come together to form some of the most beautiful constellations. And so tonight we're here to recognize the brightest stars, the newly bright stars in Terrell, who add to the constellation that we call Terrell. So I'm going to start with Jamie, and Jamie is a special ed teacher at Terrell Middle School, and I want to say maybe in year 2, or maybe it was year 1 or 2, but we needed someone to teach reading and coding, which is a very particular course, and we needed particular training for it. So I'm like, okay, who can I trick to go to school to take the class to be the reading and coding teacher? So it was Jamie. I said, Jamie, don't you really want to take this Morton Gillingham course so you can teach reading and coding? And she was like, what does it entail? Oh, you'll be fine. You can do it. And so 2 years later, Jamie finished the course. So it's really an accomplishment. Jamie, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking on that challenge, especially in year 2, and it's still working toward tenure. But we really do appreciate it. So thank you for all you do at Terrell. I just found out last year, I believe, or toward the end of last school year, that Michael, who teaches 7th grade science, is a horticulturist. So we were talking, and it just came out. And so I decided this summer that I wanted to get into gardening. And so I was talking to Mike about what I could do, and so we came up with dahlias. And so I planted them, right, and they came up really nicely. And Mike was gone for the summer. I'm like, how can I get hold of Mike? He's got to see the pictures of the dahlias. Because I was so proud of him, but it was because of Mike and his expertise that I was able to do that. But Mike is an amazing, amazing teacher. His love for science is just infectious. You walk into his classroom from beginning to end, the kids are truly involved, and because he loves science, they love science as well. So Mike, thanks for your contributions to Terrell, and I look forward to our next project. And then lastly is Mr. Philip Yap, and Philip is our media specialist. And I remember Philip's interview, so I'm the one who asked all the hard questions. So, and in middle school, anything can happen. So I said to Philip, I was like, what would you do if you came in one day and all the books in the media center were rearranged? I don't remember what you told me, but it was really good. And I was like, okay, then he's the one. So But Mr. Yap has turned our media center around, and he makes it a place where kids come. He works so well with all the teachers at Tenured. You are an outstanding media specialist, so thank you for your contributions to our school as well. So congratulations to all of you.
And now it's my honor to bring forth Dr. David Heisen, principal of Scott Plains Family High School, and call up Kenny Chopra, Marilyn Cruz, Colleen Gallagher, Sweta Gandhi, Matthew Crick, Adrian Quackenbush, Zachary Rittner, and in absentia Beth Mitchell. Come on up.
All right, good evening, everyone. I did something a little different this year. I kind of reached out to some of my colleagues, actually some of their colleagues in their department, to provide me with some ideas that I could present this evening. So I'm going to combine some of my ideas with what was given to me. I want to start with, looks like, well, no, they're not anymore. They're close. So Kanika Chopra. Kanika is one of the hardest working teachers in the building. She inspires her students a love of reading and a fervor for learning. She has introduced many unique titles into the language arts curriculum and is always challenging her students in innovative ways. She is an excellent colleague and a great role model. That's Kanika Chopra. All right, Marilyn Cruz. Marilyn Cruz is a rare find and asset to our faculty. She is certified in chemistry as well as special education. She facilitates classes in both departments, teaching chemistry as a special education teacher and forensic science as a content area teacher. She is student-centered in her approach and a team player and a pleasure to work with. Marilyn Cruz. Colleen Gallagher. Colleen Gallagher can be counted on for her innovative teaching. She has partnered her United States History 1 students with her sister's elementary class in South Carolina. I am sure this has its roots in the fact that she is a Clemson Tiger, a Clemson graduate. Colleen is a tireless advocate for student success and a valued addition to the high school faculty in the social studies department. Colleen Gallagher. Sweta Gandhi. Sweta Gandhi is one of an increasingly rare group of science teachers, much sought after, I might add, who teach both chemistry and physics. She moves from a class of sophomore chemistry to a physics class comprised of juniors and seniors. Sweta continuously modifies her approach to instruction, introducing new activities to motivate and energize her students, and she strives to share her love of both chemistry and physics with her students. That's Sweta Gandhi. Matthew Crick. At the end there, Matthew Crick has been committed to helping his students to achieve a high level of understanding in chemistry, and AP chemistry, I might add. He is here before and after school for students to come for extra help. He is student-centered in his approach, and he is committed to the success of all of his students. Matt Crick. Beth Mitchell is not here this evening. So we go to Adrian Quackenbush. Adric is well-rehearsed in physics with a strong educational background, master's in physics, as a matter of fact. He is very dedicated and well-received by his students as well as his peers. Always warm, sincere, and understanding, and always there for those in need. Usually one of the last teachers to leave the science wing each day. Enthusiastic and loves what he teaches, proven by the strong connections he makes with his students. Adric Quackenbush. And Zach Rittner. Over the last 4 years, Mr. Rittner has strived to provide a rigorous learning experience for his students. His contributions to the biology curriculum as well as our new AP Environmental Science program have given the students opportunities to visit various locations, providing them with hands-on experience. Congratulations to Zach and all of us.
Some people think of the job as middle school assistant principal like discipline, and while that is true, Christy gets to do some amazing things because she makes amazing things happen. She doesn't want to be just the disciplined person. She wants to make sure that all kids at Park feel welcome, included, and safe. A few years ago, she brought in the ruler program, which gets kids to recognize and identify and become more aware of their emotions. And she's worked that into our STAR curriculum. Just recently, starting last year, she started an after-school club called Choose Your Own Adventure Club. Now, she started this club because she noticed that there were certain kids who didn't have a place after school. These weren't kids who wanted to be in an academic club like the newspaper, or they weren't kids who played a sport, they weren't kids who played a musical instrument. These were kids who just needed a place to make friends and make connections. And she started this club and now has this collection of incredible kids who come every Wednesday. And I encourage you, if you are ever in the area of Park at 2:45 on Wednesday afternoon, if you want to come and play chess with a 5th grader, or you want to play any board game with a 7th or 8th grader who just needs a place to connect, you should come on over and see Christy do what she does best, which is make kids feel safe. So congratulations.
They're both responsible for Christy because Christy actually began her journey at Park while Lisa Rivers was principal there. And then obviously Dr. Dumaris is taking her down the home stretch, but we know you can be with us for many years to come, so we're very grateful. So now it's photo time. Assistant principals find all the stuff. And now at this time, it's my honor to call up Dr. Joan Mast, who was our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, Instruction, Assessment, Technology, and everything in the district. And she is going to speak on behalf of two of our supervisors who are achieving tenure tonight, Elizabeth McKenna and Darren Watsky.
Thank you, Dr. Hayes, and congratulations to everyone who has received tenure this year. We'll start with Liz McKenna. She is our district language arts supervisor. She brings energy, humor, scholarship, and a strong work ethic to the curriculum team. Prior to joining the supervisors, Liz was a high school teacher in our language arts department, where she established herself as a master teacher, which of course is why she makes a wonderful supervisor too. It's also why she's able to advocate for all of our students in the district, as well as all of the teachers in her department. Liz inspires all of us to read more. Whenever she describes a favorite book or the book that she's currently reading, people go right to Amazon for her book. So look to her for a resource in that way. Liz also provides essential support to our district professional development. And beyond that, she brings us incredible stories about Claire. So, Claire, give away to mommy. No. Congratulations, Liz, for achieving tenure as our district language arts supervisor. And I now have to give a shout out to Ryan as well. Darren Watsky is our district technology supervisor. Darren is a problem solver and has been an asset to the district work in overseeing our infrastructure and our technology inventory. Darren has done significant work with the technology team to build and maintain a reliable network for teaching and learning, and also having us be park ready. It was a huge mountain to climb, and Darren helped us do that. Additionally, Darren supports district data management and state reporting, and that makes all of us very grateful that he is so skilled in that work. Darren is always focused on best practices in the field, and he is always looking for what will be cutting edge for the next steps for us to move to. So congratulations, Darren, on receiving tenure.
And now at this time, I would like to call forward Dr. Jocelyn Dumas and Mrs. Lisa Rodriguez. So as the superintendent of schools, I work very closely with our administrative team, and these two young ladies, very young, are such an asset to our district in terms of helping us grow as administrators and support all the work that needs to be done in our district. Jocelyn joined us first as our language arts supervisor, K-12. The spark in her eyes when we interviewed her was just amazing. She had such high energy, and she was so focused on helping students succeed in the areas of reading, language arts, all things English. She spread her wings from being the most enthusiastic middle school teacher in another district to embracing language arts K-12, and now has extended her area of work once again in terms of administration. Some of the things that I enjoy most about working with Jocelyn is her enthusiasm,
her depth of thinking, but most importantly, her flexibility. There's no task you assign that Jocelyn doesn't say, we can do that. It's no problem. We can get it done. She has energized Park Middle School. I remember the first day she was introduced wholesalely to her staff, and as she was bringing them all back at the end of the summer, she was out there serving lemonade and having park glasses and doing all things park. And that's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of her connecting to kids, her connecting to staff, and her connections to parents. She's reshaped Park's mission, inviting everybody to be an inclusive part of it. I can recall being at staff meetings with her with a hub of action and an energy as everyone was grappling with a different aspect of where Park was going to go is absolutely amazing. I'm also proud that during her time with us, she completed her doctoral programs at Rutgers. Thank you very much. She's keeping my alma mater in good stead. And we're just extremely proud that she has transitioned into her leadership role as a middle school principal, and know that we are all enriched by our opportunities to continue to work and grow with you. Congratulations. And it is my extreme honor to recognize Lisa Ravimbis. Mrs. Ravimbis was one of the first administrators I met when I came into this district as the assistant superintendent. I won't say how many years ago. Dr. Choi had the good fortune to send me off to the University of Pittsburgh, where we learned about the principles of learning and also had the opportunity to engage our team in some excursions, not the least of which was finding meatballs as big as your head, and having far too many people in a cab as we tried to navigate Pittsburgh. But what I learned then was that Lisa was a genuine person, someone who would always give me absolutely brutally honest feedback, and to this day probably knows me better than anybody else in the district. She can literally read my emotions. So Lisa comes to us having had many opportunities to be celebrated in tenure here. Lisa's tenured as a Spanish teacher in our district. She is tenured as our world language supervisor. She is tenured as the principal of Park Middle School. And now she's tenured as our director of special services. No one's ever getting rid of Mrs. Williams because her bumping rights far exceed anybody else. But that's a good thing, because we are so thrilled. Her intellect is remarkable. She's an incredible problem solver. I continue to be awed by her analytical skills. But what I value the most is her passion for connecting with every student and every parent. She's uniquely qualified to be in the role of Director of Special Services, because from the bottom of her heart, she understands the value and the importance and the utter necessity of bringing out the best in every single student, no matter what their set of learning talents are. She always focuses on the positive, and we are extremely fortunate to have her as an administrator in our district. Congratulations. And I said earlier that Jocelyn had infinite energy and enthusiasm. So we're going to pull Jocelyn back up again. And Jocelyn is going to be joined by all the other principals who are here, because at this time we have a resolution to honor our principals for National Principals Month. So will all of our principals come forward?
So I have the privilege of reading the resolution for our wonderful principals. Whereas the National Association of Secondary School Principals and the National Association of Elementary School Principals, along with the Senate and the General Assembly of the State of New Jersey, have declared the month of October 2018 as National Principals Month. And whereas National Principals Month is an appropriate time to recognize the essential role that principals play in preparing today's students for the challenges of tomorrow. Whereas principals fulfill important roles as educational visionaries, instructional leaders, community builders, while demonstrating uncommon dedication to furnishing their students with a positive support system that fosters academic and intellectual development. And whereas in addition, principals establish the academic tone for their schools by collaborating with teachers to implement and maintain high curriculum standards, develop mission statements, and set performance goals and objectives that result in educational excellence. And whereas school principals are responsible for the safety of their students and staff and the security of the school, principals set high standards, providing the support students need in order for them to develop and achieve at a high level. And whereas each principal is responsible for fostering a dynamic partnership between the community and the school in order to create a positive learning environment for students. And whereas Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education recognizes and appreciates the skills and commitment of the Scotch Plains Fanwood principals and celebrates their dedication to our students, their families, and our community of learners. Now therefore be it resolved that the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education recognizes and commends the contributions of our school principals, Dr. David Heisey, Dr. Jocelyn Dumaris, Dr. Kevin Holloway, Mr. Scott Bortnick, Dr. Karen Weatherall, Mrs. Colleen Hubbard, and Dr. Socia Slocum, and Mr. Justin Fiore for their continued service to our children. Thank you. Has some closing remarks, but before she does that, we want to make the resolutions and the recognitions official tonight. So we have two motions, and I would like to ask all those in favor. Opposed? I knew they would all be in favor, so everything's official now, and congratulations again from all.
Yes. So there's one last group of people that I want to recognize tonight, and that is I would like to have stand in the room anybody that is a supervisor and anybody that serves our district as a teacher mentor. Would you just stand, everyone that's been a supervisor or a teacher mentor? These are also unsung heroes in our district. Let's give them a warm round of applause. Our supervisors work tirelessly to support every teacher, but also help shape our instructional program. And the mentors are teachers who work with their colleagues, particularly during those first couple of years when they are new to our district. And their work helps helps ensure the success of all of our teachers. We really value each and every one of you and are so grateful for the contributions that you make. I would also like to thank tonight Evergreen School Principal, Mrs. Colleen Hobart. She graciously allowed us to use her multi-purpose room for tonight, and I'd like to acknowledge our PTA Council and the PTA leadership for their support. They have generously donated tonight's refreshments, so be sure to enjoy some cider and cookies in the back when we break. And lastly, I wanted to share with you a statement from Candace Testa, who is the president of the SPFBOE. She had really hoped to be here tonight, and unfortunately couldn't arrange that, but she did want to convey the following. Regrettably, I will not be able to attend this evening's tenure reception. However, on behalf of the Scotch Plains Family Education Association, I would like to offer my sincere congratulations to our newly tenured teachers and administrators. They truly have so much to be proud of, and we are honored to work alongside this group of stellar educators. Each and every one of you add to the collective wisdom of our district, and I join Mrs. Testa in saying that we are extremely happy, in Ms. Dr. Holloway's words, that you are expanding our constellation of stars. Thank you for everyone for being here, and my special thanks to the teachers and administrators that are being recognized this evening.
So, I don't need to call the meeting to order. We already did that and saluted the flag earlier this evening because it's one of those exciting evenings. We were able to recognize the tenure of 32 of our teachers this evening and 5 of our administrators. So it was very exciting to do that, and then we also met in executive session very briefly to discuss personnel. But I do want to say that an announcement of this meeting was given to the Borough Clerk of Vanwood, the Township Clerk of Scotch Plains, and that it was also given to the Times. So now we, let's see, the additions to the agenda. I see we have 1S, 3S, and then 1, 11, 12, 13, 14 BUS for the business section, and 2 OBB. Has anything else come up? No. Okay. We also are going to have an opportunity for the public to come to the microphone. So we're going to go to that next. If, according to our policy 0164 and 0165, if anyone would like to come to the microphone, this is their opportunity. Please state your name, the town in which you reside, and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Tanisha McGriff. I reside in Vanwood, and I just wanted to address the board. Not sure if this is the right forum, but about the incident, the bias graffiti on Scotch Plains Vanwood High School, I was a little perplexed why there was no notification sent out to parents regarding what had occurred. I'm newer to the district, I'm newer to the town, so I don't have the interconnectedness that most people have in this town, in this district. So to find out about something of that magnitude by social media or just by when, I did not feel that that was appropriate. I would have loved to have received something in writing from the district. I did see the statement on the district page, and the only reason I went to the district page was to actually find the email of our principal to find out why nothing went out. So I did actually see the statement, and I thought the statement was very nice. It was very concise, brief, and it hit the point. But as a parent, I would have liked to have received that.
So I didn't address that because I'm the superintendent of schools and I'm ultimately responsible for that. It's generally not our practice to send out announcements when students, when anybody does an action like that. There are lots of reasons why we would not. We have lots of times when kids do things wrong and we don't know at this point whether they were students or not students. And while we recognize the egregiousness of it, there are several issues in terms of how that would be communicated out. We did choose to put the statement on the website because that was a good place for people to go to check. The way in which we do mass communications in the district is through Honeywell. And Honeywell is an emergency alert. This was not an emergency. We are, however, moving forward looking to add a secondary platform through which we will be able to send out announcements such as that district-wide, and we hope to be able to attach and be able to connect attachments to it. So we were recognizing that in this changing platform of social communication, how quickly things can go viral. So we are going to be putting this secondary thing in place. But up until now, to be truthful, it hasn't been our practice to email out when people violate our code of conduct and violate our board policies, because we handle them through the normal protocols. So the police were notified in a very timely manner. We worked with the police department very closely on these issues. And we collaborate through the memorandum of agreement with law enforcement. We did find it was prudent to put it on the website, but moving forward, given the response that we've had from parents, we are going to look to see how we can do other communications as well. So I appreciate what you're sharing, and as we move forward, it will happen.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming out to her.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Hayes, are we doing our instructional update this evening, or would you like to introduce it?
Yes, we are. Now that I see our instructional update people are both here. Mrs. Franz, to be fair, is sharing in the celebration of her husband's tenure. So she's divided in two places.
I'm going to eat dinner.
That's true too. So tonight it is my pleasure to welcome Mrs. Kaylin Franz and Ms. Rabimbis. These are annual instructional updates that we do at this time relative to the school safety data and security system data that happened from January to June of 2018. And in addition, Mrs. Franz is going to be here to report out on each of our school self-assessments for harassment, intimidation, and bullying. These things are usually done in the late spring. Am I correct, Mrs. Franz? But this year, the State Department held up the information and the protocols that they wanted us to follow for this. And so they asked that we do this in the fall. So we've done it. And so, Caitlin, I believe you're up, either one of you, I think you're up first. So if you can come up to the podium at this time, we're happy to hear about those self-assessments.
So we're going to start with self-assessments first tonight, as Dr. Hayes said, and then we'll loop back around to doing our other standard SSDS and different reporting. So for our self-assessments, as required by state law, the Commissioner of Education has developed a program to grade schools yearly on their efforts to implement the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act. We're now in the 7th year of completing this assessment, which is designed in a rubric form and is to be implemented as a self-assessment at the school level. There are 8 core elements in the self-assessment, and within each core element, there are 1 to 5 indicators on which a school can receive points. Points are given on a scale from does not meet the requirements to exceeds the requirements. The scores from each element are then added to make the school grade. It is important to note that a school that has met all of the law requirements will result in a grade of 52. So if we've met everything that's required under the law, it is a score of 52. A school that exceeds state requirements in every single area would receive a grade of 78. So it's not a 100 scale like we would normally expect. This fall, each of our schools engage their school safety teams in completing the self-assessment, and we will be providing you with the resulting scores. Our school scores range this year, and when I say this year, I'm referring to the past school year. That's what we're grading ourselves on. Our scores range from 62 to 74. Again, to remind you, a 52 is meeting every requirement of the law. So our scores are 62 to 74. These scores reflect that our schools mark themselves consistently in the meets or exceeds requirements in many areas, and we believe that this is a depiction of how we are moving in a systematic manner as a district in our programming and our procedures related to harassment, intimidation, and bullying. I'm going to go briefly through each core element within the self-assessment so you know what it covers, and then how our schools score themselves. Element 1 covers KID programs, approaches, and initiatives. Specifically, this section asks that schools annually implement, document, and assess KID programming that are designed to create school-wide conditions to prevent and address KID. Additionally, school safety teams should be identifying patterns of KID on an ongoing basis throughout the school. For core element 1, our max score is a 15. Again, that would be exceeding all the elements. Our schools rank themselves from 12 to 14. On core element 2, it covers training. This section first asks about training on district HIB policy for adults, including instruction on HIB on the basis of protected categories. This section also covers the requirement that we discuss with students the district's HIB policy, so they're trained in it as well. For core element 2, the max amount that you can receive is a 9. Our schools graded themselves from 7 to 9 this past school. Core element 3 covers other staff instruction. So this section asks about the requirement of 2 hours of instruction in HIB prevention and in suicide prevention within the 5-year professional development cycle. Element 3 then ensures that we have provided instruction and professional development that is specific to individual responsibilities relative to HIB. This includes our anti-bullying specialists, our school safety teams, and our administrators. For element 3, the max that a school can receive is 15. Our schools score themselves on the range of 12 to 15. For core element 4, this covers curriculum. This element looks at our provision of ongoing instruction on preventing HIB for students and the participation in New Jersey's Week of Respect each fall in October. For core element 4, our max is a grade of 6. Our schools ranked themselves from 3 to 6. Core element 5 covers personnel. Specifically, this element speaks to the requirements that came about with the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act. This element asks that we appoint an anti-bullying specialist for each school, creates a school safety team in each of our schools, and creates my position as the anti-bullying coordinator. Additionally, as required by the law, the anti-bullying specialists meet regularly throughout the year with myself and the coordinator. For core element 5, our max grade is a 9. Our schools rank themselves from 7 to 9. Element 6 includes incident reporting. This section looks specifically at whether we have implemented specific procedures for reporting HIB and reporting new information on prior HIB. For core element 6, our max grade is a 6. Our schools have ranked themselves from 4 to 6. Core element 7 covers investigation procedures. This element first ensures that we have notified parents for students identified in each HIB case. In regards to timeline, this element asks if we have completed each investigation within 10 school days, prepared a written report on the investigation, provided that report to the superintendent within 2 school days, and then of course, making sure that it comes to you guys at the following Board of Education meeting. On core element 7, the max is a 12. Our schools have ranked themselves from 10 to 12. Our final element is element 8. This covers HIB reporting and asks that our procedure for reporting ensure that we gather all the required information by the state. This element also identifies whether we have responsibly posted on our websites the HIB grades we received previously. So that's asking about the same self-assessment scores but from the year prior and whether we posted those publicly. For core element 8, our max grade is a 6, and all of our schools have rated themselves at 6. Again, our school scores range from a 62 to a 74. That is the compilation of the numbers under each core element. Once we have approved these scores and turned them into the state will then give us a grade based on all those scores compiled for the district. In our 7th year, we've been able to utilize this process to review our implementation of the harassment, intimidation, and bullying law. We continue to focus much of our energy on educating staff, students, and parents, as well as continuing our ongoing implementation of curriculum and sports. These efforts are positively reflected in our self-assessment scores. And we'll be providing you guys with a list of all the numbers so that you can see it in its entirety. Questions on that part? Yeah.
So, as you know, the Department of Education updated its reporting system from the EVRS, Electronic Violence and Vandalism Reporting System, to the SSDS, the Student Safety Data System. The SSDS combines two state testing reporting systems, the EVVRS and the Harassment, Intimidation, and Bullying Investigations Trainings and Program System. The data I'm going to present tonight is focused on 5 identified categories by the State Department of Education and is entered biannually into the reporting system. This data is reported publicly to the board 2 times a year. The following data is for the reporting period of June 2018 until January 2018 to June 2018. The 5 categories are violence, vandalism, weapons, substance, and HIB. In the category of violence, there were 16 incidences reported to the state. For vandalism, there were 3 incidences reported to the state. Weapons, 3. Substance possession, 33, and HIB, 2. And that's a short and sweet mandatory report that we need to present with our information if you have any questions.
I do. I'm just curious, looking back a few years, or looking at this data versus going back, are there any trends that you see, or I know different years are different?
And as I've reported in last year during the discipline reports and in the fall report when I gave that in the spring, the biggest trend that we're seeing is the increase in the use of vaping materials. So that has been an increase in reporting those incidences of possession and use by students.
Thank you. Question. Are all those numbers you recorded unique youth, or are there some that are duplicated?
There are some that are duplicated. So if a student had multiple incidences, they would be reported multiply.
Most of you know mine's not as short and sweet, so bear with me. Lisa did already give you a basic number on the HIB. I'm going to go more in depth on the HIB as required by our state law. So the following data, as Mrs. Ravinda said, is for the reporting period of January to June 2018, so this past spring. The total number of HIB investigations, both found and not found, was 25. The number of confirmed harassment, intimidation, and bullying events was 2. The status of all investigations is complete, as recorded on monthly Board of Ed agendas, and as heard by all of you. One of the requirements of the state is that we also identify whether any of our confirmed bullying cases was based on protected categories under state and federal law. Of our 2 confirmed cases this past spring, neither were based on protected categories. Both of our confirmed cases were based on other distinguishing characteristics that were not included within the identified protected categories, but were distinguishing to that student. Our investigators this past spring were Jason Cross, Chrissy Krasovsky, Christina Iarusi, Amanda Wolf, April Chastain, Ches Medley, and myself. For discipline imposed, both on confirmed and cases that weren't confirmed but may have had code of conduct violations, discipline included parent conferences, student conferences, suspension of privileges, students were advised of future consequences, detention, and suspension. For remediation, we had teacher monitoring of student interactions, monitoring by aides, change of classes, limiting interactions between students to be separated in future years, check-ins by support staff members, individual counseling both within our schools and community-based, referral for community services, classroom-based lessons, facilitation of restitution and restoration, effective decision-making skills counseling, guidance in online activities and the use of social media, instruction on conflict resolution, empathy building activities, resiliency building work, empowerment counseling, other skill building activities and counseling, the disabling of online student tools, students referred for leadership activities, student conferences, parent conferences, coordination of at-home conferences with families, or consequences with families, attendance monitoring, community service assigned, referral to CST, IEPs reviewed, FBAs or Functional Behavioral Assessments scheduled, coordination with DCP&P, coordination with our aftercare programs, and collaboration with our local police departments. Relative to training and programming, so I'm going to go through both. It's important to note that as I go through them, these trainings and programs are both for our students, our staff, and for community members. Our trainings included HIB policy and protected classes, HIB interventions, HIB prevention trainings, school culture and climate trainings, cyberbullying and technology among teens, school-based programming, cyber safety for parents, and outside trainings that we have attended, including cyberbullying and cyber harassment, the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act, and new components, understanding HIB characteristics, talking about race and diversity, unconscious bias, mental health issues facing students and the relationship to HIB, trauma and mental health support, suicide prevention, diversity trainings, and the Union County bi-monthly HIB trainings and collaboration meetings. For programming, we had the Green Dot Bystander Intervention Program, Healthy Lifestyle Assemblies, Service Learning Programs at all 3 levels, the Effective School Solutions Wraparound Services, Day of Silence activities, Gender Box activities for our psychology classes at the high school, the hashtag Here For You Grief program, anti-bullying PSA announcements at all 3 levels, school-wide assemblies on bullying and related topics, the ACE program to reinforce positive behaviors, LEAD programming, the STAR program, PALS, Think Purple Week activities, the NJ Can Career and Life Readiness program, the Walk a Day Empathy Building program, Cyber Safety program for students, classroom-based character education lessons, conflict resolution lessons, field days for team building at all 3 levels, school spirit and culture activities at all 3 levels, school transition and collaboration and planning, community service-based clubs, Black History Month activities, health and wellness committees were formed and met, the Ruler program, the Kindness Initiative, a digital citizenship program, the Agents for Change Committee, multiple recognition program for positive character traits at all of our schools, social skills classroom-based lessons, cross-age peer teaching lessons, social skills groups for targeted students, classroom discussions on HIB policy and students' rights under the policy, the bucket filling program, random acts of kindness activities, and responsive classrooms program. Yeah, questions?
We'll wait till the end.
That's it for me.
That's it for you?
Oh, okay. I know, shocking.
Are there any questions or comments for Mrs. Rebembas or for our anti-bullying specialists here?
I don't have a question. I just want to say that sounds like a lot of programming regarding anti-bullying in the district, so I'm happy to hear it.
It gets bigger every year. We're very proud of it.
I would wonder if for a future instructional update, maybe, I don't want to give you more work to do, but maybe we could at some point highlight just a couple of them and bring a few students in just to, speak about their experiences, because there are so many and they're so different. So maybe that's something you can look into in your spare time.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I would like to thank you for the, it's a challenging law, which we all know, and thank you for your attention to detail, because there's so many requirements and time requirements, and I think share with everyone that you listed as investigators and all, it is, it's challenging work, and we appreciate the care with which it's done. And certainly also, as the board members were saying, the programming is also such an essential piece. So thanks to everyone on the team.
So thank you, Mrs. Rubinus, thank you, Mrs. Franz. The work that's done day by day in the district in this area, as the board members have noted, is truly amazing. And we know our students benefit from it. And
it really is heartwarming to know how much care and attention is given to this essential work. Thank you. And at our next meeting, the board will be asked to affirm that you have received these reports. And Karen will be sending me a summary of the individual schools so that the board will have that. We have a responsibility to complete a statement of assurance for the State Department by the end of October. So we'll be in this place.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, it's time for committee reports, and I know that I know at least 3. So I don't know who wants to begin. Okay, Mrs. Winkler.
The Shared Services Coordinating Council met on October 4th. Although the police chiefs were unable to make it, there was a countywide training or some such that they attended. They did have Captain Real from the Scotch Plains Police Department who gave us an update on some of the programs the police are doing, including small update September 19th about an ethics training and October 2nd about the Mallory's Army presentation. October 15th, coming Monday, I believe, is Hidden in Plain Sight. That'll be at the high school. November 12th is when the police will set up the crash scene they do for the distracted driving program at the high school. The Cops and Kids After School program is scheduled for 2 dates, February 12th and March 12th at Terrell, and February 26th and March 26th at Park. We had Debbie filled in a quick update on that we now have a full-time SRO at the high school, as well as SLEOs at all the other schools. And noted that the security vestibules are scheduled to be installed later this month. We had a brief update on the computer training that we were working on with for the senior citizens in the community. Dr. Heisey is sending a list of available students over to Scotch Plains, and the seniors will come to the high school for the training likely once per month. There was a quick update on Senior Cafe, which doesn't affect the schools, but it's a program that's happening in the community. It's open to both Scotch Plains and Fanwood seniors. It includes lunch. They meet at the Shady Rest on Tuesdays. It's been well attended. And then we were asked to give ideas on things that maybe we'll work on for shared services in the future.
Thank you very much. Okay, who would like to go next? Okay, thank you, Mrs. Williams.
So the Facilities Committee met on this past Wednesday, which was yesterday, and we went over a few things. The roofing projects that were done over the summer, we're going to be completing the punch list this week. And installation of the lighting and sound systems in the Park Auditorium should be complete by the end of next week, which is pretty exciting. And we are replacing some concrete sidewalks at the high school, access to the Evergreen High School lot, also an ADA ramp with detectable warning surface at McGinn, and there's broken sidewalks at Coles that are going to be repaired as well. Also, the elementary playgrounds have been repaired and will be set up for our annual inspections. And that is it at this time.
Okay, thank you very much for the update. And was there finance, I believe?
Yes, I can,
Okay.
I can follow up on time with
Okay, thank you, Dr. Clancy.
basically, like the facilities committee, the finance committee supported
Mrs. Sarah Jackie's recommendations that we not only do the light and sound systems at Park, but at this point add in the house lighting. She had hoped to see if our own staff could do it, but given the scaffolding needs and other things, it wouldn't be we would not save any money. So we will go ahead with that, and the cost for those are supplies, $9,188.40, labor, $28,000, for a total of $37,188.40. And also, as Mrs. Williams said, there's a number of concrete issues, issues of concrete in the district, and the Evergreen High School lot, the sidewalk with a double ramp. That cost is $8,450. At McGinn School, the ADA ramp with a detectable warning surface, which I never asked, is that the bubbles? Yes, the bubbles. Is $4,500. And then there is a broken sidewalk at Kohl's, which we're waiting for an exact quote for. And we did support her recommendation that we fix the piece of playground equipment at Runner that needed to be fixed, and that it includes groundswork of wood timber borders and mulch, and the cost for that is $19,865. I forgot to say the cost for the lighting, for the house lighting. That will come from 2017-2018 excess extraordinary aid. The money for the concrete sidewalks will come from maintenance reserve, and the money to repair the playground at Runner will come from 2017-18 excess extraordinary aid. We also went over and approved our budget guidelines for this year.
Okay, thank you very much. And we have a new committee?
Yes, the Community Relations Committee met
Yes,
on
Mrs.
Wednesday.
Brody.
This is our first meeting of our reestablished committee. We started off our first meeting just trying to set some short-term and long-term goals. And one short-term goal that we did establish was that we would have the board improve communication, exposure, and involvement in the community. We haven't really decided how to do that yet, but we're brainstorming that now. And we're all pretty excited to participate in this committee. So we'll be back with more information. And our next meeting is, I don't have it on here, I think it's November 12th.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I think curriculum's meeting next week.
And policy.
And policy. Never forget policy. Okay, there was one LAT from Mr. Keith Stewart on September 26, 2018, and that was referred to an executive session. And that brings us to the superintendent's report, Dr. Hayes.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Dowler. Tonight, it's just changed. We have 1S, I would ask that the board approve the revised out-of-district placement for the 18-19 school year, dealing with the student who's placed at 100 preparatory school.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. 2S, at our next meeting, we will be affirming the superintendent's decisions in the HIP cases that were reported in September. That is the one that we met on tonight. And so we will be trying to come to a determination on that, and hopefully we'll have a resolution and we'll vote on that next week. Tonight, I would ask under 3S that the board approve the following field trips. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them listed. The high school men's choir would like to travel to Rowan University in October to participate in the Young Men's Festival of Song. Our junior statesmen of America would like to participate in JSA's Spring State Convention on Saturday, April 6th to Sunday, April 7th. That'll be located at the Hilton Hotel in Parsippany. This was a new location, so it needs to be reapproved. Our AP Environmental Science students, approximately 10 of them, wish to travel in December to the Pequest Trout Hatchery. It's an opportunity for them to examine how trout eggs are used to populate some of the trout streams and enhance their knowledge about the role of this initiative in ecological management and conservation. Our high school chamber choir has been invited to travel to Carnegie Hall in New York. They will be rehearsing and performing Brothers Gloria with a full orchestra, which is quite exciting. And finally, our DECA Marketing 1 and 2 classes will be traveling to Prudential Center in New York on December 18th. They will meet with executives from New Jersey Devils marketing and sales departments. They'll be able to tour facilities and participate in a live competition that will be judged by executives from the New Jersey Devils organization. So I'd like those moved tonight.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. At our next meeting, and after the curriculum meeting, we will let you know if there's anything that needs further approval from the curriculum committee. And at our next meeting, we will be officially reporting on our enrollment numbers for October 15th. These are the numbers that are the basis for our state aid figures. And then 6S, we will be presenting the strategic goals. We hope to present them at the October 18th meeting. Depending upon the input that the board would like to have, we're actually going to ask for approval, I think, at the first meeting in November, not the same night they're presented. In the interim, we have been sharing a draft of those goals with each of the board's committees, so board members can have input into the goal-setting process for the 18-19 school year that's related to our district's strategic plan. At our next meeting, 7S, I will ask for the approval of the SSDS and HIT reporting for January and June of 2018. That was presented this evening to you. And 8S, we will be asking for approval of the harassment, intimidation, and bullying self-assessments for 17-18 that Mrs. Franz presented this evening. And then tonight, I would ask that the board approve the personnel agenda as reviewed in executive committee this evening.
Mrs. Saradaki, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Brody?
Yes.
Mrs. Winkler?
Yes.
Mrs. Mora?
Yes.
Dr. Clancy?
Yes.
Mrs. Suriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mrs. Bauer?
Yes.
Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Hayes. Mrs. Saradaki, you'll do the business functions for us?
Yes, there are a few items that need to be voted on. I'd like to group them.
Okay, that'd be great.
One in the U.S. is the approval of staff training on the superintendent's report dated October 11, 2018.
Yeah. Yes, revisions to that.
Okay, then on both the initial, what was provided, as well as the
Revisions.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So on the block,
Oh, okay, you're gonna block all the ones that you're voting on.
Either way.
That's fine.
Okay. 8 the U.S. We had a vendor for a gymnastics meet when our gymnastics coach was out temporarily, and I'm asking for the board to approve this vendor for payment. It would be up to 8 hours, an hourly rate of $42. I believe that what happened though is we only did need her for 1 meeting, so it's like 4 hours. 11 BUS. We have some concrete work that needs to be done at 3 of our schools. What spurred this to get it done this time of year is we've been requested by the Union County Board of Elections to repair the ramp at McGinn School for election time, because the one ramp we haven't repaired is the ramp that they use for voting. And so we had a little bit of work at the high school that needed to be completed, and we have some broken sidewalk at Coles that we wanted to repair at the same time. That makes the total for these 3 projects $14,950, which would probably, if approved by the board, would be done within the next week or so, with plenty of time for the election. And that's under the data bid with Cifelli and Sons Construction. 12 BUS. As part of all the playground repairs we did last summer, one of the pieces of equipment, Runner only has 2 main pieces of equipment, and one of them had to be removed because it was in such poor condition that it could not be repaired. And I'm asking the board to approve replacing that piece of equipment. And they haven't put the dollars in there. Do you have the year? Yeah, it was, okay. Yes, it's $19,865. And that money would come from excess extraordinary aid. Lighting and sound for the middle school auditoriums, the cost for that, and that is just the house lighting at Park Middle School. And that is $37,188.40. 14 BUS is a submission of the New Jersey DOE grant, diversifying the teacher pipeline. This is actually a submission by Kane University, but they're asking for our support in this as we would partner with them as one of the school districts that could potentially benefit from this. And it's, the grant is intended to develop and scale programs that recruit, prepare, support, and place a diverse pool of teacher candidates that better reflect the diversity of New Jersey's student population. And it's a 19-month program. And that's it for systems.
Okay, now we
So, second.
Okay, any comments or questions about any of these items that were just brought up? Mrs. Sarah?
I do have a question. Is that Kane grant the same one that we were doing in partnership, or is this a new one? This one specifically focuses on trying to support bringing a diverse pool of teachers into teaching. And it actually, if we get it, will support our selecting up to 5 students from within our high school who will be eligible for I believe it's up to 3 courses of Kane and get credit for it, and it may allow some dual credit opportunities as well. So it's targeted to a group of students that potentially would want to be teachers, and this would be a way to springboard their coming into the profession from their own.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, Mrs. Sarabaki, you want to go with the others for next week?
Yes.
Not next week.
Yes.
Oh, it is next week. Okay.
To the US, I'll be asking the board to acknowledge receipt of various disbursement listings for the month of September 2018. 3 BUS, I'll be asking the board to acknowledge receipt of the district school security and fire drill reports for the month of September 2018. 4 BUS, at this time we don't have any additional related service vendors, but if there are, I'll be asking for that approval. 5 BUS, I'll be asking the board to approve the tentative budget calendar for 2019-20. 6 BUS, I'll be asking the board to approve the comprehensive maintenance plan and
and M1, which you should have in the documents that were distributed this evening. 7BUS, I'll be asking the board to approve the 2018-19 non-public school technology initiative program for participating schools. What happens is these schools are all included in the non-public funding, but we're required, once the schools decide to participate, to approve their participation. 8BUS was approved this evening. 9BUS, I'll be asking the board to approve the business reports for the month of September 30th, ending September 30th, 2018. This is the board secretary report, the treasurer's school fund reports, and the budget adjustments. 10BUS, I'll be asking the board to approve the bills for the period September 22nd through October 12th, 2018. And I think that's it. Yes.
Okay, any comments or questions tonight? If not, you can reach out to Mrs. Saradaki between now and the next meeting. Okay, Mrs. Winkler.
Tonight,
I'm sorry, what?
it's asterisk, that we approve the policies at the next meeting. We can talk about them, but we're not moving them tonight. Did we talk about them? We did.
Okay, so if there's no changes from what we heard before, then we're fine. New board business. Okay, other board business, request to attend workshops. I know we're all going to a lot of workshops and workshop reports.
I have one.
Okay, Dr. Clancy.
Yeah, I went last week to the New Jersey School Boards Association rollout of their report on non-college bound learners. And look what came in the mail today for everybody. In our school leader magazine. So I don't have to talk because you can read it at home, but no, I'm going to say a little bit. It was really interesting because the way these, school boards association task forces, they meet for a year, and this group had 9 areas of focus and came out with 69 recommendations. They didn't go through all of them. But their goal was to look at, and actually, I should just read what they said, but their goal is to try, no, well, it's too long to read. It's to look at how our state educates our non-college bound learners. And the first thing we're going to do is not call them non-college bound learners anymore because that's negative. So they have asked us to look towards the term career-focused learners because the sentiment among the committee is that the pendulum in our state, and this was like a statewide comment, it was nothing about any individual districts, has really swung too far where we really focus more on college and the need for college than we do on what our students really might want to do or could do. And also they brought up a whole really very good argument about where the jobs are and where the jobs will be in the future. And many of the, and are we looking at setting up our students to go to either 2-year, 4-year colleges where they, put a lot of money into it and then can't get a job, or maybe not a job in their area, or can't finish. So they were talking about many of these areas of jobs, specifically dental hygienist, PT assistant, phlebotomist, construction manager, plumbers, electricians, carpenters, HVAC specialists. I couldn't write them all down, but that these are jobs that will continue to be available. So they have a lot of recommendations. Of course, no money that comes with the recommendations, but many of the things we do already. But looking at part of what they were getting us going with was looking at sort of changing our state's mindset, and it made a lot of sense to me. me. They also brought up that there aren't enough in their appraisal of the state, there aren't enough, VOTEC openings for kids who might want to do that. Part of that is we've had a movement to make VOTECs academies, which have taken away from some of the more, job training. So it was really good. So Region Magazine, and they'll be doing a talk down at school boards. But it was really helpful, and I brought, because I always say, I always say these things, you don't want to recycle all that stuff, do you? So I brought us all copies. So I couldn't get everybody, because she said, really, I have a few left in case somebody else wants some. But there's no reason to put it in recycling. So someone had asked, you would want one, and then I have a few that can roll around.
I actually asked in advance.
Yeah, you asked in advance, because you knew I did. So I will hand those out. But it's worthwhile hearing what they have to say. And I guess I haven't really sat in on one of them. I don't know if anyone's ever been on those, but those people work hard. So let's try to listen, to what they come up with. So, they'll be down the school boards. But anyway.
Last year I sat in on a similar type seminar at school boards, and they were talking about the fact that a lot of those jobs, there's a shortage of people for those jobs. And because the focus is so much towards college, some kids don't even think about going that route, or it's not a positive thing to go that route. But some of those jobs make more money than, most of the 4 or 6 year college jobs. So, it is really something to look at and focus on, because not all kids are ready for college, not all kids want to go to college. Some kids are very talented in other ways. So that's all.
Thank you. Any other workshop reports? Thank you very much, Dr. Clancy. I just wanted to report briefly on Garden State Coalition of Schools, and Dr. Hayes can chime in with highlights as well. I think I already emailed everyone 2 dates during the school board meetings when you can attend Garden State meetings, and one of those is with legislators. It's a combined session. We had a guest at the last Garden State Coalition meeting. The Senate Minority Leader Tom Kane was there. He was very receptive in terms of hearing concerns and discussion around legislation as well. And some of the areas that were discussed were related to finance, budget, unfunded mandates, including some current legislation. There was discussion around this referendum, which I think I may have mentioned at a previous meeting, that's coming up in November. And that referendum is asking the public to support, it's $450 or $500 million. And most of that is going to the 21 vocational schools. So there are a lot of issues swirling around that, because a lot of what they're doing isn't vocational anymore. As you alluded to, Dr. Clancy, it's really college readiness. And but it's also a huge amount of money for just 21 schools rather than sharing the wealth. I think part of the philosophy of getting that passed is, we'll see what it actually says, but to include a portion that would be designated for wellness for school security. So that way, everybody wants to have wellness activities related to school security. That's $50 million, and then the other $450 million goes to the 21 schools. So whether the public wants to take on that debt for those 21 schools, I'm not sure the public will understand it, but that was a discussion. Potential changes to park testing was also a discussion, and what's going on with that. No decisions have been made yet. And then the charter school funding was also discussed, and Garden State has been really pushing that whatever happens, that the attention be paid to the public interest of everybody in a community, not just that someone decided to start a school, and that it doesn't monetarily negatively affect other children monetarily by taking money away just to start this school, without the public wanting that to happen. I didn't say that the best way possible, but I was trying to make that clear. And in any case, it was a very good meeting, and I think there'll be a lot of discussion around these various topics at school board. Do you want to add anything?
No, I think you did a great job. I think it's notable because State does bring in people like Senator Kane, because it does help him to hear directly from people who are in the trenches about some of the challenges we're facing in our districts. He was very receptive to listening to us, and then hopefully that helps inform what our legislators do. So he did hear about continuing concerns about how HIB is structured, and as well as some of the issues, particularly around special education funding, looking on the other to our department too.
Yes. Okay. And then that brings us to, I just lost my agenda and my notes here. Okay, to OBB. So, would someone like to move about the school position? Okay, Mrs. Winkler.
I'd like to move that the board approve Atlantic Health System to act as an additional school physician for employment health exams, for CDL and DOT physical exams, alcohol and drug testing, and related services.
I can offer some explanation.
Well, let's get a second. Okay, Mrs. Saradaki, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, we have a school physician that we hired, Dr. McKenta in Linton, and he didn't realize how much he was taking on. So he would like to continue being our school physician for the football games and for the consultation, the monthly consultations that we require for standing orders and for home instruction and physicals review. And he'll also come in and do the scoliosis screening. But taking on all the employee physicals was more than he realized in his practice. And so we looked around at a couple other options, and this is actually, I'm going to add to the resolution, it's actually Atlantic Healthcare System located in Clark, New Jersey, and it's utilized by a couple of our neighboring school districts, Westfield, Clark, Cranford, all use this for some of these same things. And I went in, the people were very friendly. We looked at a couple other places too, but it seemed like a good place to send our people, and they were very experienced with dealing with school systems.
Thank you for the explanation. Anyone have any questions? Huh? Yes, I see that. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, the minutes we'll do next time. That brings us to a final opportunity for anyone from the public to come to the microphone. If you have anything to say, please give us your name and the town in which you reside. Seeing no one, the good of the order, does anyone have anything that they would?
I was at back to school night at high school, and it's always great to see people walking around the home. It's just fun. But the teachers are very enthusiastic, and it's a good evening. It doesn't matter how many of those I go to, I will never be able to find my way from the first floor to the second floor because I don't know where that connector thing is. But there are always students there. I'll never.
Well, when I went to school, they didn't have that bridge, so that bridge confuses me.
Yeah. I thought you had to use the bridge.
No, you
just go downstairs.
Go downstairs, walk, and then walk back up. That bridge, you're like in China somewhere. I
You have to be young.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that bridge.
Anyone else for the good of the order?
We had a wonderful professional development day on October 8th. And the range of some of the activities were amazing. And teachers seemed to be appreciative of the time to, in some cases, focus on their SGOs. And it was just fun to see some of the workshops that were given. I particularly appreciated the one on dance. So all the work that goes into that is really incredible, but it's well worth it. Thank you for your support of that.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, then I would like to highlight that we have candidates night coming up. It's next Tuesday already. I think we've been in meetings every night, so I'm losing track, but I think that's next Tuesday. Yes, and we have that on Saturday. So all those in favor of adjourning? Oh, yes, we are going. Oh, okay, adjourning our public session, I guess.
No.
Going back into exec?
No, we're not adjourning public, we're going back to exec.
But we're not coming back into public.
We will come back into public simply to adjourn, but no action will be taken.
That's what we're doing. We're going into exec and we'll come back to adjourn later.
Do I have to stay there?
Stay.
You do not have to stay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't have to stay to watch.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, and we're going to work some more.
Okay.
Did you want a list of our students? All those in favor?
Aye.